Hello. Hi. How are we doing? Good morning. Hi. We're recording. We're gathered. What more could we want in life? It is such a pleasure to be with you again today. I hope you are taking super care of you. If we haven't met, I'm Lindsay at My Gut Led Life. And in my human design, if you know anything about human design, I am a manifesting generator, which means I am multi-passionate. I have different avenues for my creativity and my energy and my passion in life, and they all kind of come together in this umbrella, I guess. Although for me, it feels more something foundational, more like the roots of it are all connected, I guess. And I'm sharing that because I'm going to bring a couple of those things into this space today. And what I want to share with you is how, as a mum who has been raising a child who has very specific needs, and we have chosen to home educate, how that has interplayed with my journey at living a gut-led life. So that's where I'm going with this today. I'm making this video for my channel at My Gut Led Life, and I'm also going to share it with those who are in my world where I do parent support sessions and unschooling and deschooling work, because there might be some gems in this for you too, I think. So unusually I'm going to cross-platform share today. So take what you like and let go of the rest, and don't worry one little bit about that, because that's what I'm all about. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background. I started this channel at My Gut Led Life because I really went into a commitment to my own journey, my own exploration, a complete commitment to putting my gut knowing, my gut intuition up front and center in my life. And I love to come and share what comes up for me and what comes through me in my growth, and bring you into the space of exploration and experimentation with me. This is particularly relevant for people who in their human design are a generator type. So a generator or a manifesting generator make up the generator type, which is the majority type, about 70%. If you don't know your human design, it's very easy to find out. Just go onto Google and ask for a free human design chart. Pop in your birth details and it will tell you very quickly and easily. And if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, like what? That means that we have this consistent energy available to us that sits in what you might think of as your sacral chakra, or your gut, your belly, your divine feminine, and in your womb. Anything in this area, kind of just underneath the belly button, we think about representing that energy and the emotions and the organs and the physical interactions that all interplay with that area. And it's going to be interesting if you are raising a child who is a generator or a manifesting generator, think about how they're wired, if this isn't the same for you. And also notice if this isn't you, where you feel a pressure into the conditioning of the majority who walk with this energy, because that might be showing up for you too. So that's just a little bit of background. But our gut is not only a motor, so it gives us energy to do things, it also is a way that we can make aligned decisions in our life. And that means not making the decision from all the thoughts going round in our head, on and on, all the time, never stopping, me too, and not making decisions from pressure and from fear and from doing what we perceive to be the right thing to people please for everybody else, or to prove some kind of point, or all of these reasons that we make decisions. It's letting go of all of those and going to the source within us, the source of our energy, the source of our truth and our knowing that sits in the gut. And what I really wanted to share with you today is I've kind of had these two big pathways come into my life, which have influenced where I put my time and energy out into the world, where I do my shares with you guys out into the world. Um, and one of them is a place that, for whatever reason, felt like a dharma, a soul guidance. It just felt so knowing and true within me. And I just went into with such ease and confidence. And that was, I'm going to talk a little bit about the detail of this, but that was how we have raised our child, which is very different to the mainstream and the majority. The other is how I've walked with what has been struggle and pain and hardship, and uncovering every stone that I possibly could, every knot, every block on the way, to know what is not right for me, what I don't want, what doesn't work. And that is what brought me to my gut led life. I really sat and asked, deeply in my soul, please show me, angel, God, guides, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever that is for you, higher self, higher knowing, please, someone flipping well tell me what I am supposed to do here, because I am tired. I'm tired of being in struggle. I am tired of being frustrated. I am tired of trying. I am tired of it feeling like it's so hard for me. That's the story I had, to do with anything to do with food and being comfortable in my body, physically, emotionally, all of that stuff, that so many of us women journey with. And actually, at the point that I cried out for that help wasn't when I was in my most desperate. I was actually in a more peaceful place than I've been over many years. But there was something in me that felt so deeply, there is supposed to be ease and peace here for you, Lindsay. And I wanted it. I could taste it, but I just couldn't seem to grasp at it. So that was the cry that came from within me that led me into my gut led life. So I'm going to kind of talk about both of those, because and what really showed me what lesson came together for me, where one guided me into the other, I guess, that I want to bring to you today. So I'll start off with talking about my baby girl, who's not a baby anymore. At the point of recording this, she's a teenager. She is a baby that was raised in great consciousness. She came in consciousness, in readiness, and I knew I was going on a journey with a being that chose her parents carefully for this different experience. I could feel that. And she was given everything that felt like the best that I knew how, like us parents do, right? We always do the best that we know how and that we know how to do, right? It might look messy and it might not look great, I know that, but we always do the best that we know how to reach for. And she was given what I would have considered, looking at it in black and white, to be the best. I carried her. I, did skin to skin with her when she was born. She had a natural home birth, very relaxing, very welcoming. Lots and lots of opportunity for connection and love and having her needs attended to. She was nursed on demand and responded to on demand, and allowed to do that to her own natural term. And she had the benefit of having me be with her. And and I'm saying this not to try, because as I'm really aware, it can sound like I'm saying this is the best thing to do. I'm just saying that this in me felt like the best thing to do, and I felt blessed that I was able to offer it to her. And this was where we came from. And what it felt like to me is that she had every opportunity to feel very emotionally safe and steady. And it was quite a shock. It was quite a shock to walk through some of the things we did as parents, because she had infant eczema, not life-threatening, but for anyone who's walked through it, it can really affect sleep and just getting comfortable. And as a parent, it can really affect your nervous system. Constantly trying to stop them from scratching, it becomes this like big thing all the time. So we had that, and then lots of behavioural things started to show up that were confusing to me. We'd done baby signing. If you don't know baby signing, I really love baby. If you don't know about baby signing, I really absolutely love baby signing, because it gives your baby or toddler an opportunity to communicate with you before they're using their words, in a way that you can both they're always communicating with you, but in a way that everyone can understand. It's a universal language, and they can sign a long time before they can speak, and it takes out a lot of frustration. So we'd done that, and it felt like there should be like this real lack of frustration in this communication and meeting needs, which actually we were seeing a lot of very difficult behaviour stuff, and it was really, really jarring for us as parents to understand, to make sense of that. And anyway, long story short, in the end, we started to put some pieces together, and in the end, went for an assessment and had it confirmed that she is autistic. She has a very specific profile of autism, which is known as PDA, or pathological demand avoidance. And I mention that not only because any parents listening in who might be interested in this, but because it's really talked about in colloquial terms in the community as being a bit of a disability of the nervous system. The person who has PDA autism is really wired for autonomy and freedom. And that really matters to me in my journey and everything I teach and share about here and talk about here, because it's given me a baptism of fire of what it means to really be autonomous and to really be free. Because I thought I was like pretty easygoing as a parent and gave her a great deal of freedom and autonomy, and yet still we would come across these points of tension, which is where challenging behaviours in inverted commas show up, expressions of distress the best we know how, and overwhelm show up, because actually autonomy and freedom is something that the world is not very conditioned to allow people to have, never mind children to have. So anyway, that was a journey. And I think at that point, it confirmed something we'd already been playing with anyway, which was that the right thing for us to do was to be offering her a different opportunity in life to what mainstream education would offer her. And I was already quite sold on that, but obviously it's a joint decision, and my husband, it was really supportive to him to sort of to recognise that her needs were maybe different, and that this was quite supported for children with her needs. So we went on this journey of home educating, but more than that, not only did we home educate, which is different to homeschooling. If you don't know about the world, people often talk about homeschooling, and what they mean by that usually is providing lessons or some kind of curriculum that would have been at school in a home environment. Home education, we're talking about offering an education to your child that meets their needs, from the parents, from the home, which is going to be in connection with community and groups and all kinds of things, but it's not necessarily offering what school was at home. It can look quite different. But not only that, we offered what I would call unschooling. Unschooling meaning that we were completely led by her timings and passions and interests and needs, and we didn't deliberately bring in or impose or manipulate anything that flowed for her from us as parents. Things flowed organically from us as parents, living our lives and meeting our needs and expressing our interests, and the way that people intertwine, just the same as adults interact, right? So it's not that there's no influence, but what she did with her time and what she was interested in was all led by her and her timings. I would also say that we radically unschool, which is taking it a step further from our education and looking at all aspects of life, looking at being complete lifelong learners and really just taking everything that is assumed off the table and asking, you know, do we want to do that? Why do we want to do that? Does that actually work for us? Is that correct for me? And I really wanted to give you that platform of what I walked with there, because as we've walked through this journey, which has been profound, I have learned so much and held so much in so much strength. And I know that I am a way shower, a leader for those who this speaks to in certain communities, because we have walked that path and because I have got that confidence because we have walked that all along. We are a rarer story. The usual story in our communities is more like we went into what was expected. We entered the education system or the mainstream path of support and guidance and professional, whatever was given to us at a point of diagnosis or a point of distress. But the distress happened before a change or an interaction was made. That was not our situation. It was like a really light touch into noticing there was like things not flowing right, and then an easy pivot for us as a family to say, okay, we're gonna do things differently. And there was no big challenge or trauma for us to recover from, which makes us kind of a bit of an interesting scenario. And so I've had the privilege and the benefit of watching my child, who is not only autistic and PDA, but if you know your human design, is a manifester. So as a manifester, which is one of the more rarer types, as a manifester, she is designed to land in her truth, in her moment, and inform the world. This is what I'm going to do. There is a power and an energy and a presence to her. And we've had the benefit of walking with her and seeing what it is to grow up with your own inner guidance system running your life. And it is incredible. It is incredible. And it's, the system of human design was really given to the world and told this is for the children. Us parents are already so deep in our conditioning and deep in our patterning. We've got a lot to undo, and there's only so much we're going to get through in this lifetime, let's be honest. But we have the opportunity to come in with a new layer of consciousness, that we stop passing these patterns of conditioning onto our children. We let them live in their freedom and their uniqueness. And seeing her grow in that expression has been so powerful, just on an education basis, seeing the fact that we never did anything to teach her to read. This is one of my kind of like big examples that comes up in a lot of my parent groups is a fear, of not doing the right thing by them as parents. Not teaching them to read means that they're not going to have those skills, and they're going to be disadvantaged in life, and we're going to be bad parents and have cheated them out of what they need, But for us, it was absolutely an experience like learning to talk, learning to walk, learning to read just came through her in her timing, because she was enabled to be, I'm trying to think of a different word to expose, but she had the resources, right? So I'm not saying it just magically appears if children are disadvantaged and they don't have access to resources. Of course, there's a disadvantage, right? So I'm not making light of that at all, but assuming that the environment is supportive, books are available. I don't even mean in her bedroom. I mean libraries, and the privileged world that I live in the UK. That is the situation for many of us, and she just suddenly started reading, and we were as aghast as anyone, just going, oh, where did that come from? We didn't do any lessons with her. We didn't teach her to read. We didn't do any phonics, and we didn't even do much reading with her, not because we weren't prepared to or inspired to, but because actually with her unique profile of autism, where anything is offered, even, there can be this kind of automatic sense to push it away and dismiss it. It has to come completely autonomously from her, in her timing, in her readiness. And if, shall I read you a bedtime story? That still feels like going against that. Can you feel the subtleness of that? So we didn't even do that much reading. We did have books, and we did do a little bit of like looking at books when she wanted to. And I would read books to her when she wanted it. And as a baby and a toddler, I did impose lots of things on her, because what else would I do? So I'm not saying there was nothing lent into at all, but it was very deliberate that we didn't do all the things that you're told to do, of make sure you're reading a book to them every single day, or getting them to read to you, or doing letters with them, or any of the phonics, or any of the workbooks, or any of the things that they would have done. So we didn't do any of that. And then one day, later than might feel comfortable for most parents, because it wasn't in line with her peers and it wasn't in line with the national curriculum or any of those other things, but one day she started reading out signs, and she started reading out, things in books and of packets, and now she sits and reads adult novels. Adult novels. No, that's so wrong. Not adult novel, not adult novels. Novels that I would read, which might sound like the same thing. I'm just digging here, aren't I? But she's reading some Charles Dickens thing at the moment, for goodness sake. She has completely self-taught herself to read, and her passion and her interest and her love for books has come from her, and therefore she thoroughly embraces it. She's sitting reading a book in bed now that she makes time for every day, and it's precious to her, and she loves to go to bookshops, and she loves physical media and choosing these books and looking at the cover and engaging with the words and engaging with the pictures, and hearing the stories, and there's passion and there's love for it there, because it came from her. And that's just one example of so many, but it's one that we talk about so often in our community with our parenting stuff and raising our children, because it's one of the big ones. Literacy is one of the big things, isn't it, that we have to teach our children. And so seeing her where she's so committed to the things that she's passionate about at the time, in her rhythm, at her pace, is so profound for me to walk with as a parent, and really opens up so much of my own deconditioning journey all the time. And so we've had this beautiful life experience so far of walking this radical unschooling path that, for whatever reason, I was ready for and open to, and walked with, not perfectly, but open-heartedly and courageously, and with a deep knowing in my gut, this was right, and this was right for us. And even if things go a bit skew, at some points they kind of right themselves, and holding on to the bigger picture and trusting in the journey was there for me, and is there for me all along. And I've been solid in that. And then there's this thing that I said to you, that I came and said, please show me, universe, please show me how to be in relationship with my body and food, and at peace with that, in harmony, and not frustrated, just ease and peace and freedom. Don't want perfection. I just want it not to be a thing. I want it not to be hard. I want it, not to be something I have to think about all the time. Whether it's not feeling good enough about how I look, or feeling like I need to lose weight, or keep eating the way I am eating to lose weight, and that feels effortful, or whether it feels like I'm getting reactions from my food, or whether it feels like my gut is uncomfortable, or I've got IBS, or I've got, pains and gut things that you don't want to hear all about, but not nice, and taking over all my energy and all my thoughts and all my focus. And I just why is this so hard for me? And I got really shown to start living this gut-led life where I started putting my gut up front and center, my authority, my truth, allowing it to make my decisions. So I came out of my head and started allowing that to be the place that simple yes, no, this, that, the next step revealed to me from my gut became my path and my authority. And I gave myself permission to live like my daughter does. Wasn't as easy for me because I've got all this conditioning, all this imprinting, all of this wounding to let go of on the way, and none more than around this area of my life. I've got every story, in my mind about why this is hard for me, why it can't be easy for me, from what I've inherited from my family, what's around, from my family, physically, emotionally, mentally, to all of the things that I've done to harm my body, to be out of balance, that I feel like I've got to rebalance, I've got to heal. I've got all of these stories about why I'm wrong and why I can never be free from this. But what I was shown was, your gut speaks to you in this moment, here and now. This is all that's true. This is all that's alive. All that other stuff you're talking about as being your history or being your story is what you are choosing to hold on to now, because it is not here unless you bring it here, unless you make it be here. And really learning to be present with the here and now of my gut was really shown to me. And I really, really put that, full in my life, up front and center, and made that commitment to it. What happened was that I really began to learn the language and the movement of my sacral speaking to me. So I knew how that was. So I knew how to make those decisions. And then I noticed where all of the resistance showed up. And I don't just mean like in that moment or in that week or in that month. I mean, on every step of the journey, every new thing there is to clear out and to learn, my gut leads me to, here's this truth, here's this decision, and then everything that's going on in my mind, everything that's going on in my nervous system comes up. And I get to release it. And it's really up to me. It's really up to me to decide whether I make that hard and unpleasant, or whether I say, oh, okay, this is a new gift, this is a new blessing. I can handle this. We can walk with this. I can now hear this. I can now look at this, with a more neutral mindset, and I can deal with this, and I don't have to bring it with me. And so this is my journey, always clearing out this resistance, clearing out this static that stopped me from hearing the clear picture, the big picture. And that's what I've really been led into lately, that I really want to share with you on the back of all of that. And let this land for you as it lands. But I was watching a video about something, and it was to do with food. And I'm really cautious to try and not bring in what these stories are, because I know how easy it is if you're tuning into this because this is your story too, of being caught in loops with your food relationship. It can be so easy to hear some little throwaway comment that someone says about how they eat or what they think you ought to do, or and just take it as truth. And it's never about that for me. But sometimes I get a sacral response, a gut response. Oh, there's something in that for me. And I watched a video about something which happened to be to do with traditional Chinese medicine, and I just felt there's something in that for me. And there was this one nugget that I know was for me, and I took from it. But of course, there was a lot of other information in there too. And my head started going, oh, what about that? What about that? What about that point about that? And it started churning a bit. And I was sat with it, and I was going, okay, I can recognise my head's churning on this. And I was really asking some deep questions that have been really really present for me on this journey, and come up in different forms all the time, ongoingly. Like, it comes up in this way, and then it comes up in this way. It's the same question again, really. It's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to eat? Or how am I supposed to nourish myself that is correct for me? And how do I know that? And what I really got shown was, you've got to let go of asking. This was my invitation, see what lands for you. But you've got to let go of asking these questions that are based at the frequency where you've been, the vibration where you've been. You've got to stop coming from this place which kind of says, I don't really get this. I don't really know. I'm a bit confused. I've got this wrong and I need support and guidance. You've got to stop doing that, Lindsay. You've got to go to that place that you hold when you are in your parenting, goddess, warrior, knowing strength, which is like that deep knowing that my inner guidance system reveals to me all I need to know. It shows me all I need to know. It takes me to all I need to know. I am just flipping perfect as I am, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you, and so are you. And we all have our own unique makeup, and we all have our own internal guidance system that takes us to what is right for us. And you've got to start coming from that place in the questions you ask if you want to get those higher level responses, that higher level frequency, that higher level knowing, that higher level clarity. Because I was really holding this place of duality that didn't exist. It's like there's this, but there's this. That's confusing. There's this, but there's this. That's confusing. She says this, she says that. This confuses me. I've done this and I've done this and this confuses me, and it's like, stop doing it and come up into that higher vibration, that higher frequency, that higher knowing, where you are whole again, because you are always whole. You are a whole, complex, profound, wonderful system. And everything you need to know is inside you. Everything you are is already here and present. Everything you are is exactly as it's meant to be. You've got this. You are already whole. You are already good enough. You are already whole, meaning healed. Whole, meaning you have the answers. Stop searching. Stop being at this place of questioning, which is keeping you stuck in a frequency which is not serving you. And I really wanted to bring you into that invitation, but I wanted to take you on that journey with me to see the difference. So if you find yourself waking up today wondering how many grams of protein you need, or whether you need raw or cooked veggies, or whether you have IBS or Crohn's disease, or whether you need this book to help you understand the reasons that got you into this disordered eating, or this program to help you understand how you got into this disordered eating, or whatever it is that you know that you loop around and around and around and around with. I want to invite you into many of those things may have something to offer you wherever you're finding yourself today in relationship to your gut and your gut-led life. Many of those may hold absolute nuggets, but you can only find that nugget that is meant for you now and is ready for you to bring in and digest and really extract the nourishment from, if you go into it in alignment through your timing and your knowing and your openness, led by your inner guidance system, and you open to receiving it from a vibration, a frequency that allows you to take it in a way that is going to be supportive of your wellness, of your wholeness, of your completeness, and knowing the love and the balance and the satisfaction that is available to you when you come from that place. I hope that brings something that serves you with the love that is intended today. I hope you enjoyed the journey. I hope you enjoyed hearing a bit about my journey. Take super, super care of yourself. Wherever this video is finding you, whenever this video is finding you, if you want to connect, if you're looking for some kind of support as you walk on your journey, either with stuff to do with your gut, stuff to do with your inner guidance system, your human design, stuff to do with deconditioning, stuff to do with unschooling, stuff to do with walking with what you are as a parent on a different path. If any of those things are speaking to you, I offer support for all of those. It's all the same thing. It's all about coming in and hearing your inner guidance system and being a detective about what is showing up for you now, what's inviting you to pivot into it, and what is here for you to release. And it would be my honour to walk with you in that, if that's speaking to you. Put all my contact details with any videos I put out. So just reach out, no pressure whatsoever, if you want to have a conversation about whether that's the right thing for you to do a one-to-one session with me at the moment, or if you're interested about any of the group spaces that I hold. Okay, loads of love to you. Bye.